One quiet afternoon, a fawn wandered near the edge of the woods by the Sawani River. Its tiny legs trembled as it searched desperately for its mother, eyes full of worry. A faint bleat drifted on the breeze before the fawn misstepped and plunged into the rushing water. The cold, muddy current snatched it away in an instant, sending icy shock through its small body. It struggled, legs flailing as the whirlpool spun it around, wide-eyed and spluttering. The fawn cried out for help, a sound of pure panic echoing across the waves. It was engulfed by the torrent and then bobbed up again, as though teetering on the brink of losing all hope. There was no sign of its mother, only the threatening swirl of water all around. Fear drove the fawn to kick hard against the dirty shoals, squeezing its tiny body, its belly filling with chill water. Its ears trembled from cold and horror, its breaths coming in ragged gasps. Choking beneath the surface, nearly spent, it summoned what little strength remained and let out one last desperate plea, until a massive wave swept over, spinning its frightened form and drifting it toward a lone tree branch. Yet no one waited there. The fawn hovered as though ready to sink for the final time. Not far away on Riverside Road, Lucas Bennett was cruising along in his blue convertible, with his loyal dog Bear riding in the passenger seat. Suddenly, a faint cry cut through the hum of the engine. Lucas slammed on the brakes, heart hammering, and scanned the area, frowning. Bear's ears snapped up and he let out a low growl, sensing trouble. Without hesitation, Lucas dropped the car into park and bolted toward the riverbank. "Is anyone there?" he shouted, but only the furious roar of water answered. Bear darted forward, barking as he raced to Lucas's side. As they reached the edge, Lucas spotted a small shape fighting the current, a fawn, drifting helplessly amid white-capped waves. "Oh my God, it's a little deer!" Lucas gasped, adrenaline surging. There was no time to think about fear or danger. Lucas's eyes never left that frail creature. Bear dove into the murky water without a second thought, paddling fiercely toward the drowning fawn. Spray flew in all directions as Bear's powerful legs churned the river. His eyes locked on the terrified deer. The fawn thrashed, legs stretching to resist, its bleats drowned by the crash of water. Bear closed the gap, stretched his neck, and gently clamped his jaws around the back of the fawn's neck. The deer froze, legs contracting in panic, convinced a predator had come to devour it. But instead of claws or fangs, Bear held the fawn as though cradling something precious. With each strong kick, Bear guided them upstream, carefully keeping the fawn's head above the waves so it could breathe. Inch by inch, he navigated the whirlpool's fury. On the muddy bank, Lucas knelt, arms outstretched, ready to catch them. Inch by inch, Bear's rhythmic strokes brought them closer. At last, Bear nudged the fawn onto the shore. Lucas leaped forward and lifted the soaked, trembling animal from Bear's gentle mouth. The fawn lay still for a heartbeat, shivering so violently that droplets dripped from its ears and spotted coat. Without hesitation, Lucas stripped off his coat and wrapped the shivering deer in its warmth. Bear sat close, tongue lolling, panting as he watched the fawn's every breath, as though ensuring it would survive. Lucas gingerly scooped the fawn into his arms and carried it to the convertible's back seat. He hurried to the trunk for a soft towel and began drying the little deer, starting at its sodden head before moving down to its damp legs. Bear settled on the front seat, head tilting as he closely observed his new friend. With each swipe of the towel, the fawn's breathing slowed and warmth crept back into its tiny frame. Satisfied, Lucas climbed into the driver's seat, sliding behind the wheel. The fawn lay curled in the back, safe and still nestled in the towel. Lucas glanced at Bear in the rearview mirror, whose eyes glinted with proud determination. Then Lucas started the engine and steered toward home. Lucas's house was a small wooden cottage, perched atop a green, grassy hill at the forest's edge. Inside, the cozy living room smelled of pine and wood smoke. Lucas laid a folded towel by the fireplace, spreading it into a soft nest for the fawn to rest. Bear curled up beside it, never taking his watchful eyes off the fragile newcomer. In the kitchen, Lucas warmed some milk and filled a small bottle. He cradled the shivering deer in his lap and offered the milk, rubbing gentle circles on its forehead. The fawn's wide, terrified eyes slowly softened, replaced by a glint of trust as it lapped at the warm liquid. By the time the first light of dawn filtered through the window, the fawn rose on wobbly legs and took a few hesitant steps in the yard, as if testing newfound safety. Lucas named the fawn Dotty, after the tiny white spots that dotted its brown coat. In the days that followed, Dotty shadowed Bear around the yard, her nose twitching at every rustle in the grass. Bear taught her with gentle patience how to sniff out hidden acorns beneath fallen leaves, how to listen for the sweet trill of birdsong at sunrise. Each morning, Lucas strolled with Dotty and Bear to the nearby park. Townspeople paused, smiling, as they watched a sleek dog and a spotted deer romp together through dew-kissed grass, an unlikely pair, bound by friendship. When afternoon shadows lengthened and the air turned crisp, Dotty would curl in Lucas's arms for warmth, while Bear lay close by, vigilant as ever. Still, Lucas knew that Dotty's mother might be out there, searching for her lost fawn. 2 weeks after the rescue, Lucas spread a map of the Suwannee River across his desk, marking spots where a doe might wander. One bright morning, he placed Dotty and Bear into the convertible and set off for the old riverbank. Dotty sat quietly in the back seat, ears twitching at distant bird calls, as if listening for something familiar. Bear bounded ahead when the car stopped, tail wagging, while Lucas scanned the dense tree line for any sign of movement. Just then, at the forest's edge, a large doe emerged, standing perfectly still. Her round eyes shone with hope and longing. Dotty froze for a moment, nostrils flaring at the scent of her mother. Then she bounded forward, legs carrying her across the damp grass. Lucas held his breath as Bear sat obediently, watching every moment. Dotty reached the doe and pressed her damp muzzle into the doe's flank. The mother lowered her head and licked Dotty's forehead, trembling with relief. Tears squeezed Lucas's throat as he watched the reunion. Bear let out a soft, triumphant bark as if bidding farewell. Lucas knelt, smiling through tears, and whispered, "We did the right thing, Bear." Dotty turned once to look back at Lucas and Bear, eyes full of gratitude and longing. Lucas gave a final wave. Go live like a true wild deer. Hand in hoof, Dotty and her mother slipped into the shadowed forest, their spotted forms fading into the dense green. Lucas and Bear walked slowly back to the convertible, the morning sun glittering on the river's calm surface. A chapter of their lives had ended, marked by kindness, hope, and a friendship that knew no boundaries. As they drove away, Lucas glanced at Bear, whose eyes shone with quiet pride. A new day stretched ahead, full of promise and perhaps more stories waiting to be told. Dear friends, thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support our channel.